Welcome to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, where we talk all things good food, good business, and good cars. And now, here is your host, Arnold Gacita, founder and CEO of Petra Automotive Products. Let's roll.
So we're here at the Petra International Convention. We do this every year. We're at the Grand Duca Hotel this year in Houston. If you've never been here, you got to come out and look at this place. It's a little bit of Italy here in Houston. And at this convention, we award our top distributors. And in the U.S., our number one distributor is KOA Distributing. And David Huckabee is the owner. David, thanks for being on the show.
It's good to be here.
Yeah, it's hard to get you on here, but I'm glad we tied you to the convention and get you.
We kept trying.
Yeah, we
finally made it happen.
Yeah. Where's my hat?
It's in the truck at the airport in Little Rock. So.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll wait.
Okay. I'll be right back.
So something that's great is since the moment that I met David, though, we met David at a Ruby Tuesday.
Ruby Tuesdays, Bend, Arkansas.
Yeah, and I think the banter between the two has never stopped since that moment. David is not only extremely successful in this business and many other businesses, but predominantly in this business. But he has that dry, witty sense of humor that very few people have, that I like and that I have, but people look at us like we're crazy.
They do. I'm a little bit of sarcastic at times.
Right.
Gets me in trouble.
I think that's part of it.
Yeah.
So. Does your wife ever go, come on?
Without fail.
Right.
Without fail.
Right. Like, later it's like, you probably shouldn't have said that.
Right.
That
I get that a lot when we, group interactions and stuff. She's like, I don't know if you should have said that. Maybe you should think that.
Maybe I was thinking about it. Was too late now already said it. But hey, what's your favorite car? What is the dream car for David? You may have it or you may not, but what is the car that David wants in his garage?
A Miata. No. I think we both know.
It would have been great if we would have done the interview, both of us in a Miata.
It would have been while we were filming, but getting out would have been the end of that one. Pretty much any GM four-wheel drive, full-size vehicle.
Big truck.
Big truck. I'm a full-size crew cab. So I drive a Suburban, Chevy Suburban.
You just want to feel on top of the world.
A diesel. I've got a diesel. And I think right now, probably a diesel high country crew cab would probably be the heavy duty. Would probably be, if I could, just pick a vehicle and drive, that'd probably be it.
Is your wife in that same category, or is she like, after the kids are out of here, I want the Miata?
I don't know. She did originally. She drives a Suburban as well. We've got 4 kids. So she wasn't real sure how she'd like the big vehicle, but I don't think she'll go back to a smaller vehicle now.
I think I hear that a lot. When people go into the big SUVs, again, on top of the world, they don't seem to go back to a lower level.
I don't know if it's a sense of safety or if it's just, feeling like anything gets in your way, you'll just plow through it. But I definitely think the bigger vehicle's the way to go.
All right, of all the places you've traveled or haven't traveled yet, could be on your bucket list, but what is your favorite place to go to, or a place you would like to go to that you haven't been to yet?
So there's several. And you mentioned other businesses. I do a travel company, does international travel and stuff, so I've been fortunate. I've traveled a lot of places in the world. Israel's one we go to quite a bit. I love that place. I could go there many times a year. I've got people that I kind of consider my Israel family there that I work with and deal with and have for 15 years. So that's always on the top of my list as places I like to go. Never been to Croatia, Iceland. Those are places I'd like to go. And I'm working on those trips.
I haven't been to Iceland. I've been to Croatia, and I'm telling you, it's beautiful.
Yeah,
you should go there.
That's what I hear.
It's beautiful. The people are great. They haven't been free for too long.
Right.
And so they're really enjoying that newborn freedom. And if you're there, you might as well go to Montenegro next door, which is something out of a movie.
All right.
Yeah, very nice. But Iceland,
I'm working on it.
But you weren't with us on the trip that we went hunting, right?
No, I had to miss that.
Okay.
Or
fishing. I guess it was a fishing.
I don't know why you
the reason
bring
why
up
I bring it up because when you
subjects.
said Iceland, it was just a funny thing was that we were all on this fishing trip in Alaska, and we take a helicopter ride up to the glacier. I'm the only guy in shorts. Right? So we're on top of a glacier up in the mountains. Everybody's like covered jackets, and I'm in shorts, freezing my butt off.
Yeah.
Because I don't know, I have no idea why, but I just feel like you would be there with shorts with me.
It was in the summer. It was in the summer, so you were
And,
planning
and,
for
and,
it.
down there it was not
Yeah.
that cold. But anyway, all right. What's your favorite type of food?
Oh, man. Edible food, I think, is probably my favorite type.
That's good. It's always good to keep it in something that you can eat,
Yeah.
right? It's better for the digestive system too.
I say all the time, biscuits and gravy, lobster bisque, and cheese dip. Those three things. So savory foods. I'm not sweets. I'll eat them. I like them.
Is
but
that
it's
comfort
not-
food?
It is.
That would be considered comfort food,
I would
right?
think so. Biscuits and gravy for sure.
But let me tell you something. I used to like you more when you were fat.
Right. I'm working on that.
You've lost a lot of weight.
I've tried to.
How much have you lost?
Oh, at least, for my heaviest, probably double this, but about 100 pounds in the last
It's
year and a half.
unbelievable at making us fat guys look bad.
Well, I've got 4 kids, 12 through 3, and the doctor, I didn't have heart disease.
And a fifth one on the way, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
As
I just wanna
Gene
have
Hackman
breaking
said in the
news.
movie Hoosiers, my team is on the floor. But I didn't have heart disease, didn't have diabetes, didn't want either one. And so the doctor kind of said, well, here's some options. Here's one, and you can start losing weight. And so, just high protein, low carb, working out, was going to the gym about every day, 4, 5, 6 days a week. And that's kind of tapered off, but still trying to eat better.
So I won't mention the name, but somebody at our convention told us that he works out every day. Now, he's actually very thin. And I was asking him, what do you do? He puts a machine. He says, I sit in the computer every morning, and he puts a machine that does the exercise for him.
Oh, those electric.
Yeah. And then he puts it on his biceps, and he does this, and I go, well, heck, I can do that.
I thought Junior was looking a little, a little thinner.
I'm not mentioning any names,
Yeah, right.
All right. So tell me the David story. Your family is well known, but what is David's story? You grow up,
I grew up essentially a preacher's kid until I was about 12, 13. Then Dad got involved in politics, so that just made the fishbowl bigger.
How old were you when your family got involved in politics?
11 was the first time when he ran.
Okay.
When he announced he was running. So 13's when he actually got elected for the first time, and that was cool. And then we moved right before my junior year to Little Rock from Texarkana. So that was kind of a life shift. Because I kind of had all my friends that I'd grown up with and people that I'd, did life with, and they just disappeared, as far as the daily routine. So moved to Little Rock, had a great high school experience there, and then I've always just been entrepreneurial. Just always looking for ways to make money and sell stuff. I think I've been selling stuff since I could talk and walk. And
You started at 11 or 12, right? You're 18 years old. You're graduating from high school. What are you deciding to do? What's happening in David's life at that time?
So everyone in my family, cousins, brother, sister, wife, I didn't know her at the time, parents, aunts, uncles, all went to the same school, Ouachita Baptist University in Arkadelphia. And I looked there. The problem with Ouachita is that it's not surrounded by rice and soybean fields. And so I picked my college based on its proximity to duck hunting. I went to
Okay.
Arkansas State.
But a lot of people probably do that, right? They pick their college based on where they can go duck hunting.
I think some do. I don't know that everybody does.
Maybe
I know
the
my
Duck
parents
Dynasty
were really
guys, maybe,
proud
but-
that I really focused on what was important when I was picking a college. But that's where I went. And I went in Northeast Arkansas and had a great experience in college experience there. Stayed up there for a while. Worked in radio through high school and college.
What were you doing on radio?
The first station I worked on was in 9th grade, and I say I worked there. It was kind of a Boy Scout Explorer post type deal, and it was a Christian station. We did Friday night football scores, and so I did on-air stuff with that, and then worked at a country station. And then when I was in college, did on-air overnights, Sunday mornings, and then with some other guys that
You
were
didn't
there.
come out on Sunday mornings and do a hymnal, did you?
No, we did the NASCAR radio show, was generally the Sunday morning deal, so it was like a 4-hour, it's a lot of sitting. Put in a CD, you'd go for 15 minutes, and then, you'd say a few words on there, and then you'd put in the CD and go for 15
Okay.
minutes. But when I started, you were still taping together, like reel to reel, to edit and stuff like that. And so I did on air, I did voices, wrote copy. I did character voices for morning drive and afternoon drive. Wrote copy, voiced commercials, things like that.
This is all through college?
Through college.
So 18 to 22, more or less.
Right.
This was your job.
Right.
And then you graduated from college, and what did you decide to do?
Stayed in radio because while I was in college, me and a couple other guys from the radio station started doing like concerts and events. And so the radio station decided that they wanted to hire us full time to do events because we'd partner with them on things. And they created a department called non-traditional revenue, which was pretty much anything we could dream up that wasn't a 30-second or 60-second commercial that would make money for the station. And so they hired us to do that, and so that's what we did. And I mean, we did everything from bridal fairs and concerts to, you know, the world's largest garage sale and things like that. And
How long did you do that for?
did it for about a year or so in Northeast Arkansas, where I was in college, and then moved to Little Rock. One of the guys had left and had gone and bought some radio stations with some other people and called me and said, "You want to come work for me down here?"
So you moved back to Little Rock.
So I moved back to Little Rock and did that for a couple years with a couple different radio groups, and then was about to get married and realized that with that job I was gone 4 or 5 nights a week doing events or promotions or something, and just wasn't going to be suitable. So I got into the mortgage business, and I did that for 5 or 6 years, and then I went to work for my dad.
So you leave the radio business because you're going to get married, don't want to travel
Right.
as much, get into the mortgage business. You do that for how long?
5 or 6 years.
And then you go work for your dad in campaigning?
In radio.
In radio?
Yeah, he was starting a radio show, kind of a short form radio deal, nationwide, syndicated nationwide. And originally went to work for him doing like affiliate relations, dealing with different radio stations and things like that. And then that kind of developed into a non-traditional revenue deal with him. And so anything I could bring to the table, I filtered stuff out, you know, to bring opportunities. I would bring opportunities to look for ways and deals for him to grow revenue and grow the brand and that sort of thing. That we did an Israel trip, because he had done Israel trips since the 70s. And so we did one of those, and then that developed into a travel company, which I still run
And
today.
I mean, people should put it together, but for those that are hearing and not seeing, your dad is Mike Huckabee.
Some days he'll claim me, some days he won't. So, yes.
And so I know that, you know, there'll be names coming out on the YouTube, but for those that are hearing this on the podcast,
Right.
David Huckabee with KOA Distributing, and we're talking about your dad, Mike Huckabee, that you went to work for
Right.
him. So you do that for how many deals working for you? How many years working for your dad?
Still working for him, so it'll be 15 years this month.
Well, he must like you somewhat.
I don't know, some days he does.
Or your
some days
mom
he
is
doesn't.
like saying you can't let him go.
Right.
He's your son.
Yeah, I think he could fire me faster than he could fire somebody else. But I try to do a decent job. You know, at least do enough to stay, you know, in his good graces.
Well, tell me the story about KOA. How did you decide to get into the automotive chemical business and start your own distribution?
So I did some real estate development in Little Rock, and I grew up in the Boy Scouts. Let me back up. So I grew up in the Boy Scouts, was still in the, you know, involved, and we'd go, you know, every year, every summer. A bunch of us old guys would get together at the camp we worked at, and we'd pick some service project over a weekend, and we'd pull the money together, and it may be replacing a roof on a pavilion.
This now as an adult.
Right, this is an adult.
So the kids that were in Boy Scout
And grew up there and worked at camp together.
now as an adult, once a year would come back like a reunion.
Right, we do like a big reunion.
Okay.
And I mean, it spanned like several decades, I guess. You know, we'd have guys that we didn't work with at camp, but that were much older than us, who had been there years before, but we had gotten to know over the years, because they'd all come back and visit. And then we had guys that were behind us, you know, 10 years that would come and visit, you know, that we'd go and see when they were in staff. And so as we all got older, we just continued to go back, and we'd pick one weekend of summer and find out, you know, what's one project that needs to be done, whether it's building a hammock camp or whatever. Anyway, just whatever project it was. So we'd do that, and then we'd just hang out and visit. And so one of the guys that I grew up with, working at camp with, was in the automotive space. He had dabbled in real estate. We're all kind of telling what we're doing. And we started talking about real estate. And he said, "Oh, we ought to look for something together." I was like, "Great. It sounds good." You know, he was still in Texarkana. I was in Little Rock. You know, he's doing rentals and stuff. I just done a little subdivision type deal. And so we're like, let's find some project to work together. I didn't really think much about it. A couple months later, he calls and he said, "Hey, I've got something. I'm thinking multifamily or, you know, some, you know, rental property portfolio we could buy together and do." he goes, what do you know about automotive chemicals? I said, nothing. He said, great, I'll send you the paperwork. And so,
Those are the perfect people.
So the perfect people, right? Like, oh, great, I've got a guy that's a sucker. So anyway, he set up the meeting with you. We met at Ruby Tuesdays. At the time, my wife had a car that we were trying to sell, and I had a couple kids at that point. And I mean, this is a true story. This is how I really got into this. And so I was looking at the numbers and things like that. Met with you at dinner that night. You were talking about different products. I'll get to the car in a minute. We were talking about different products, and you brought up the Petra Blaster, which is an odor eliminator, permeates the entire car and gets rid of smells and mildew and all that stuff. And my wife had a car, and I don't know if you've got kids, you know exactly what I'm talking about. But when kids spill milk in a car, I don't care if you shampoo it, you cannot get rid of that smell. And you mentioned that product, and I remember looking at you and going, if that product will take care of this smell, then I'll sign on the dotted line. And you said, okay. So you overnighted me some. I got it. I put it in the car. It took away and eliminated the smell. And I went, oh, man, I guess I'm in this. And so originally it was going to be, we'll put in a little money, we'll hire some people, they'll run the business. We're just going to cover Arkansas. It's going to kind of be like a little side hustle, more of an investment. And it has become a dramatic, much larger investment in terms of time and effort and energy, but a very rewarding one. And that was 2016, so 8 years ago.
And you named it KOA because?
Stands for Kings of Automotive, because we really could. But it referenced back to
your childhood memory,
right? To an area that we grew up with, a camp that was an area camp.
That's great.
And so anyway.
So you have become in the U.S. our #1 distributor. Today we looked at volume and penetration. You're #1 as of today in both.
Right.
Right. What do you think makes you guys so successful?
I think the #1 thing that we have is that we do what we say we're going to do. When we go into a dealership and we say, this is what we're going to do, this is how we're going to help you grow, we do that. We've learned, different things throughout the years that have helped us help them, but it also has helped us be there like we need to be for our dealers. When I talk to a dealer, a lot of times it's if they've got a competitor. Some dealers never have any; they don't have anything in there. If they're carrying one of our competitors or something at the time, they'll go, "Well, machines break." I'm like, "Okay, that's fine." I let them kind of talk about what issues they're having or why they're even talking to me, and I tell them, look, we keep backup machines in all of our warehouses. If your machine goes down within 24 hours, we'll have a new machine. We'll either have yours fixed or a new machine in your shop. And I tell them on the front end, it's not altruistic. I'm not doing it because I just want you to. If you can't do services, I can't sell you chemicals. And if I can't sell you chemicals, I can't pay my bills. We all win when we all win. And so that's kind of how we look at it. Like, how do we help them win? The more they win, the more we win. And so it's not about us selling more, it's about them selling more. And as long as we keep that mindset and continue to do things that give them tools and training and continue to follow up and put in extra effort for them to be successful, we'll be successful. And I think that's kind of, our how we focus our business is making our partners more successful.
So I think what you just said is powerful because we preach these all the time, and I'm going to summarize it, and correct me if I'm wrong. Great product, listening to customers' needs, and doing everything you promise to do.
Oh yeah,
that's it.
And admitting when something goes wrong. This business, things will go wrong. In any business. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be a lemonade stand. Something's going to go wrong, right? But being able to admit when you've made a mistake or address when a problem exists and trying to come up with solutions to that problem.
Yep, that's so important. So third year in a row?
Third year in a row.
Are we going to do 4?
We're dang sure going to try. I don't know. There's a lot of great distributors.
Yeah.
And there's some that are coming on really strong. So we didn't start at the top, and we're going to try and stay here as long as we can. But
would you say you're competitive?
Very competitive.
So you're going to try to stay at the top?
Yeah. I like being at the top.
That's good.
I didn't like being number 2. Once we made it to number 1, I sure didn't want to look back. So
Do we have a new belt buckle?
we didn't do belt buckles this year because I couldn't come up with a.
So just, you made a belt buckle, kind of like rodeo belt buckle that said
Well, there's rodeo theme last year was the
back
first
to
year.
back, right?
Back to back.
Back to back. So now you need a three-peat.
Yeah.
Now you need something for three-peat.
I know.
And then maybe something for four-peat. We'll see.
We'll see.
We'll see.
Let's just get there first.
David, thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate you, man.
Thank you for listening to Wheels, Deals, and Meals, your main source for all things good and fun, business, food, and cars. If you like this episode, make sure to rate us and subscribe. If you would like to be a guest on our show, please leave a message at the link below. Till next time, happy eating.